a straw poll? I think it's an informal.
It's an informal poll,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Page 2. What's a granite then?
That's the name of UNH's mapping service. It's an acronym. I don't know what it stands for.
GRNANIT?
It's not spelled
Yeah, it
spelled the
doesn't
normal
spell
way,
it.
right?
I think I actually don't know offhand. I know it's an acronym that stands for.
It's granite.
Right, it's spelled correctly.
No. Some days I'm just obtuse.
Everyone done reading? Or close
Yes.
to? Alright. I see the space that we can shrink in the first and annual report sometimes. And the only other thing I saw was in conservation easements, the second line where it says Society for Protection of New Hampshire Forests dash Wild Valley Trail
I
Area.
don't know what that is.
I think we could say I forget the name of that parcel, the Wildcat.
That's the one that large parcel
Oh, yeah.
off of Maloon Road.
270 acre.
I mean, the point was that it's a spin-off easement, not a town easement.
Right.
And in 2016, there had been confusion, and we cleared it up. And then in 2017, there was a slight back and forth again.
So what we're trying to say is that when we say spin up Wild Valley Trail area, we're trying to say not
Not
the
us.
Jackson conservation easement.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be the Wildcat
What area is
Valley.
that one in?
Under conservation easements.
Right.
Wildcat Valley Trail area.
Yeah, which describes the
Not the
parcel.
Jackson CD, yeah.
So Wildcat Valley Trail is not a CC. It's not to be confused.
Not a CC monitored parcel or something.
Yeah, we don't want the conservation easement spin-off owns it.
And if you say it often enough and every year, you look at it.
Yeah, it looks like I think I said this last time, but it looks like one of the board members had our letter from 2016 when we had thought it was. And he was like, hey, I was like, I think we cleared this up last year. but
Where are you guys?
We were wrong, we were right. Anything else to be amended?
What was the first one you mentioned?
There's just it looks like an extra large space in between the word report twice.
Oh, I
the
see.
annual report.
Oh, yeah.
Formatting.
Anyone like to move to accept minutes?
I'll move that.
Anyone
Second.
All right, everyone in favor?
Aye.
All right, accepted with 2 amendments. I've got the agenda.
Is that there?
It's a hidden agenda.
You guys were Joyce Allen. You weren't here when Joyce Allen came in.
No, I saw her just leaving.
Okay. We can go around in there.
Okay, I was thinking roughly try to, assuming that we're normally here, well, say we leave at 6:30 like usual. Try to spend half the time on Jackson Falls and half the time on Prospect Farm. And the Prospect Farm would be brainstorming our management plan. So we'll leave that for last, maybe at like 1:15, or if we don't get there by 1:15, before 10 past.
Yeah.
And do Jackson Falls first. And the screening plans, looks like we have some seedling paraphernalia.
Well, I just copied some emails from Sean Sweeney from 2013. He is a he's with a Headwaters Hydrology. And I know in the email to us you were looking for somebody who could do some water stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had given me some information about planting stakes. And the area that he was actually looking at is the same area that you were talking about, where it's gotten very close to the path of the upper part. And what he had suggested that we do is you take, I think I was mixing up with the fascines, but what you do is you take a rebar and you down as low and close to the water, and you just kind of like, you pound the rebar in, you pull it out, and then you take cuttings from the dogwood. I got a lot of dogwoods in my yard, and all you do is just stick it in there, and that's it. So
And you don't leave the rebar in
no,
to
you
like
pull it out.
attach
It's
it
like,
to?
Nope, the rebar is just to make
Yeah,
the
it's
hole.
like your drill.
Okay.
You just make a hole, and there's pictures there, so you can see, you know, like here, you can see what they're talking about. You know, here's your stake right here, and then it just grows. And he gave me a picture too where we can't see it that well on this and the last one.
Yeah.
But when you see it on the computer, you can actually see the stake and then all the stuff that's come up above it. And this is the one we were, cutting. So that might be a possibility.
But what is the stake in the photo if you take the...
The stake would be the, it's the fascine, it's not the fascine, it's like the dogwood. And
Oh, okay, just like the actual plant
Yes, the
itself.
actual
Not like a
clipping.
wooden stake or
No,
anything.
it's
Oh,
like
okay.
a branch.
It's like a clipping
Okay.
from the dogwoods, and there's all different kinds that would work.
Gotcha.
So red osier is really easy, crystal willow, silk dogwood.
Red
even
osier likes it
willow.
wet too.
Yeah. So, and if you look in his email, he said for the area that we'd be trying to do that on, he suggested probably better just taking your own clippings rather than going to a nursery, which is interesting. So this is something we never tried
Yeah.
for some reason.
This looks like it was around the time probably that.
We got Greg Howard involved and started doing the management plan and all that. Yeah. But I thought you might find he might be a good contact
Yeah.
for more of the things that you were thinking about.
I like the idea of the sod transplants.
Isn't that cool?
Also.
But the thing is, you have to get that from somewhere else. And I don't know if you have to like take squares from what's already there. I think
Yeah.
and then it's like a little, you know, track
Yeah.
or whatever. This is the opposite of hardscaping.
Yeah. It would be really neat though. Maybe we might as well try it.
Fantastic. Why not?
We could do both.
Yeah.
Same old, same old.
So I looked at the fascine stuff, and I think what you have to do is get one of those coral logs, and you have to stake them in, and then you have to. The fascines are really bundles of the osier dogwood, and you make bundles of them, and then you add another bundle and tie them on, add another bundle, and then what you do is you place them on the bank, and then you put the soil on top of them, so they're sprouting up from all different points underneath, which is pretty good, but I think that would be more susceptible to erosion. Plus, you have to stake, the log in, and you can't because it's all rock. I think it's all rock. There's nothing you could secure it to. Yeah.
Or you'd have a cable in it.
I don't know how else you would do it. But I was thinking of it for that area, but there might be another area further down where we might want to do it.
I'm sure
It'll be
there's
kind
an
of fun
area
to
that
try.
we could, sure we could find a spot for that. We could journey.
I assume the timing matters. Like it needs to be in the dormant stage.
Yes, and you've got to get your cuttings before they, bud. So I can certainly, get my yard. I got silky and red osier, and I don't know what else I've got
I have
there.
access to willow.
You got those? Yeah, that'd be great.
And then when does it matter when they go in?
This
Well,
is
before
you
they're
got-
supposed to bud.
You got to go in when you cut them. You put them in. That's what I would say.
I don't know.
So you just harvest them because it's not hard. Snip. Go down, jam, stick them in, walk away, see what happens. To me, it would be like the same day or 2 day. Within 2 days. That's-
So how would it work with snow, or you do it through the snow?
No, you wouldn't do it. You'd have to wait till the.
I think you could
So-
harvest. I think you could harvest them earlier and just keep them cut as long as they don't dry out.
Yeah, that's
Probably within a week or two. I wouldn't think it would be much
Yeah.
more than
Let's
that.
look it up.
Yeah, but if you keep them in water, they're going to bud out. That's the problem.
Because if you cut a willow now and stick it in warm water and stick it in a house with water, it'll start to flower.
Yeah.
It'll root out.
Like forsythia, they'll do that.
So I mean,
So this is basically like May, we're talking, right?
I'd say.
April?
Early
yeah,
April.
it'd have to be
Yeah.
like they flower quick.
Yeah.
They start
Yeah, I
to
guess
flower.
Early.
Early April.
Probably about the same time we get the stuff from the state.
So I was wondering, do you think we should still get stuff from the state or try this
Oh,
instead
absolutely.
this
So
year?
let's do
Or-
both.
So in addition,
It's like
okay.
a shotgun, approach, I think. Because last year, a lot of the stuff they put close to the water didn't survive.
Just washed away.
Most of it got washed off.
It had washed away or it dried up because of the way that, we had so little water. At least in the places where I was trying to put. Yeah, which are bare places, and they're bare places obviously for a reason, because there's no topsoil and there's nothing there.
Yeah,
Great.
seems like we have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Again, the order forms that you know about, which I said, we want to go over that. Do you want to talk about that one, about the order form?
Oh yeah. So last meeting, Joyce was here and we discussed. This was parking at the Jackson Falls, and because it's being state road, we don't have control over adjusting those parking spots. So she was going to talk to Kenny Crowther. And she got a hold with Kenny, and Kenny directed her to James McMahon, who's the engineer at Lancaster for the state. So she basically just provided us with the contact information and said that he was pleasant to deal with, and we should begin our conversation now, and you can come over when it snows, so that we're ahead of the snow being gone. We don't catch them when they're later and busier in the season.
And she mentioned this, like getting in touch with Bert Phillips
Mhm.
and basically having him drop the little plans where we would want them, and then sending the plan up to him as to what we were proposing, I guess. If
I'm
that's-
sorry, what
this
is
is-
his
this is
job
the-
again? In Lancaster?
He's
the...
engineer for the DOT.
Okay.
So he, like, if you're changing your driveway and your driveway's on the state road, you have to contact him, and there's just guidelines where it can be on a curve, radiuses, that kind of stuff.
So I assume by him saying that, he didn't say, no, just flat out no.
So
Correct.
send
Yeah.
me a
I mean,
plan.
there isn't a whole lot. Yeah. Basically, just said, sounds interesting. Let's see. Yeah. Develop a sketch of the proposed parking lot area to determine which permits or paperwork will be required, and we could meet in the spring when the snow clears. And then, yeah, that's just the Bert Phillips mentioned some work at the bridge nearby, may include some sidewalk work. Maybe the parking area could be coordinated with that effort. So yeah, it's certainly not closed-minded to it.
So the town is paying Burr to engineer some of the sidewalk stuff on Valley Way, sounds like, right?
Yeah, I guess. Well, there already is the sidewalk on the bridge. I don't know if there's anything beyond that for the plans.
That's all there is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a really heavily traveled road that you need sidewalks, I would think.
I mean, I don't know if I'm quite right, but the little I've heard is the rate that, I don't know if DOT was doing the bridge, if they would do the sidewalk, and the town's pushing the front of the sidewalk. I don't know quite how that all works, so it could be however that
Yeah.
works.
Where is the sidewalk going to run to?
Well, I mean, right now, there's just the walk.
It's just,
Just,
separates-
oh, gotcha. Sorry, I thought you meant an extended thing. I know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant like an extended thing, like a Jackson Tennis Club. I didn't know where this was going. That's just fun all the way. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, from the little I've heard, when that bridge gets rebuilt, like basically what I think of as your bank gets totally like torn up and put back as part of the bridge reconstruction. And I assume the abutment on the other side would have the same thing. So who knows? Could be that that's part of it. Is a walkway. I don't know. I haven't seen any plans.
Me neither.
Okay, so if the DOT is open to it, I guess that I have two questions are, how do we feel about it, is question one.
I suppose does it make sense that wouldn't we recommend it to the selectmen and then it get
I mean,
Before we start doing all the legwork, or does it make sense? I guess it depends on how strongly we feel about it, right?
I mean, my conversation with our representative on the select board doesn't seem like it's important to them, and they don't want to do any legwork.
Gotcha.
They want the legwork to be done and a plan to be brought to them, and
Gotcha.
then they will present it to the town and have a conversation.
Okay. So they want to present it as like not an idea, but as a full blown like this is where it'll be. This is
Yes, these are the loopholes you need to jump through. These
Gotcha.
are whatever, blah 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 blah. And I guess the two questions are, how do we feel about it as a board? The idea of to have like resident only parking there, and then does the board want to do that legwork or try to find residents who are involved?
I think we should find residents who are involved. To be honest, I think we should be sort of neutral. We can support it, but I don't think we should be the ones pushing it. I think somebody else should step up and say, hey.
I don't feel strongly enough to want to do the legwork, and frankly, I just want to eliminate parking in cars. So,
I feel like taking steps backwards here.
yeah, it
We're
feels,
sanctioning it out.
it
We're
feels
just
like
what's the least damage in the least amount of area.
Maybe resident parking will be like double size. So it's, we're taking 8 spots away and creating 4 or something.
This is like Congress. Okay, I'll support yours if you will take away all the parallel parking spots.
Put a rider on it. Little pork.
wow.
Little pork.
I think the note I sent to for meeting I could not attend. I think all of us agree that we'd like to get rid of the parallel parking on Cardinal.
We did.
I think no matter what we do, we try to work toward that and all, and that doesn't require any sketches or anything. It's just a matter of saying, can we get it signage set up to do that? And then I think we want to leave the handicap parking, which
Yeah.
is actually where there is no berm or any other thing, and it's not going to be a problem to maintain that. But the other stuff, all the other stuff, is starting to erode those banks. And I think we all agree that that's, besides the fact that it's a safety issue when you're in the middle of summer. And we do, and the parking that is head in, the 4 spots that are up on Valley Cross Edge have already been approved. Those are not, that's nothing new. So I'm not sure what we're talking about, sketches and stuff for
Like,
that.
would that become the resident-only lot? Is
Well,
that
that's what we're talking about.
yeah? Like, is that the option?
But, I guess I'm not sure what we're talking about for sketching out, other than
Well,
This guy needs the
think-
sketching for it.
other than if we were going to designate something that we wanted to be resident-only parking, then we might have to do some
Right,
work.
the
build
complication
another
becomes that the town can't, we as a town can't say who can park on that road because it's a state road. So I
Right.
believe the state has to be involved, and then they can say, okay, yes, you can call this parking for that, and if that's the case, maybe we have to go through those steps. Isn't
I would
that?
assume it would be analogous to what was in the newspaper about Diana's Baths, where
Yeah,
Conway really wanted to have no parking there, and they
yeah, right. They can't say who can park and can't park on a state road. So
and
if we're going to say that, then this is the beginning of the step.
Unless it was a safety issue. If it's a safety issue and you can't park, there's no place to park on the other side, then I'm sure there's probably some, something that says that you can't park
Which-
over,
Our selectman representative, I think, essentially said to us on occasion that, like, if you guys stage this as a safety concern, then, like, you've got way more weight behind it.
for anything.
Yeah. Which I think it's both. I think it's safety and erosion and trampling measures. So what would be the first step if we try to eliminate parking on Carnotch Road? That we would have to get Greg Howard to put it into his plan, and then
No.
I mean we
No,
can't
no.
make him put anything in his plan.
No,
I
we
know,
just-
but
No, we would write basically we would jot up hey, this is what we want to do this year.
and give it to the
Give it
selectmen.
to the select board. As well, basically, if there were new items, I feel like for plants and whatever, that's everyone's on board with that. It's only new and different things.
Mhm.
Do we have anything in the plan originally that talked about eliminating spaces on
I don't remember the language. I mean, most of it was controlling
I
access.
think it is.
You know, like designating access points and like kind of parking to a certain degree goes with that. I don't remember. I mean, it
We
was.
should look it up
I
because
feel like Greg mentioned eliminating the parking on that burned area.
he definitely mentioned it on Valley Crossroads specifically. I think, right? And I feel like maybe it also said like managing volume, which I feel like parking is the number one way to manage volume.
So,
Yeah, because if you end up having foot traffic, more people will access via the stairways that are there. Simply because if they're parked down the street or up Valley Cross,
exactly.
they're going to come in, and when they do the parallel parking, they feel that the quickest way to get to there,
Right over
whatever
the
the
road.
shortest distance is between their car and the
Yeah,
river,
absolutely.
and they hop the fence even now.
Or they've created deer paths, I think you were talking about
Yeah.
that before, or right around the edge of the fence. I'm like, really? So that's one of the
Like
that's
college-
my idea of
college
planting big
campus
stuff.
down, you know.
Yeah.
So are we backing up now?
Well, that's what I said, we need to direct our focus, so we,
Because we were talking about the 4 spaces and this engineer, but now we're talking about eliminating. So are we,
We need to vote, I think, right?
We need to
On
figure
that.
out what we want to do, and I guess
Residential.
I'd like to break it down in pieces and say, what is it we absolutely want to get done? And then, move forward in steps and say, yeah, this we would like to do, no matter what. Then, okay, what else would we like to do?
I mean, what I've heard from everyone basically is number one, do what we always do, which is the plants, wood chips, soil, plantings, et cetera, et cetera. So if we were to like write something to go to the select board, it'd be like, same thing we always do, more. 2 would be to eliminate parallel parking on
Right.
Carter Nut Road.
I think we get all nods on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
and then that would be maybe just one of the lower priorities?
No, I think that's.
And I think
No, he
Well,
wants this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You could actually do that, contact him for both those things, I guess, right? If you wanted to.
well, I think that I guess that would be that is the question.
Right question.
That is the
Right.
question.
Yeah.
Is if we want to. I mean,
Right.
all right. I mean, let me
This-
rephrase it. How many people would be interested in doing that work to do that? I mean, that.
Given that the projects that we've been wanting to talk about haven't actually been getting done, we probably don't need to take on an additional one, even though it's just like a subset of parallel parking in a way.
I agree with that, but I think we should at least make the phone call and talk to him to see what are the
it is we need to
regulations
do.
of the state managing a road and us saying, can we or can we not control who parks here? Just have the conversation so we don't.
Because he can answer questions
Yeah,
right
he's going to
away.
clearly, he's going to
Yeah,
say as
say
a
yes
state,
or no.
if you do this, yes. Or he could just say flat out, no. I'm never going to give you that option. And
Done.
I will tell you that people can park here and maybe you should do this for erosion control. So I think we should have the conversation. I don't think we have to push for town only.
Gotcha.
I think that we should push that down to the subcommittee that the town has and say, hey, if you guys really want this, we'll support it, but we shouldn't have to put it on our list of chores. We have enough to do,
Definitely.
especially if they're not interested.
I think it would be useful. I agree with you. I think it'd be useful for the conversation to find out what it is that you'd have to do and say, look, no matter what, we want to do this. But we also have people who are talking about what
Yeah.
this is. What is that going to require?
Yeah.
Because we'd have to contact him regarding
Correct.
Yeah.
getting rid of parallel parking anyway,
Yeah.
presumably.
I think so. And that conversation should go through us anyway.
Yeah.
We don't really want the townspeople calling. I mean, it was great that Joyce got that started. She did it because she's a neighbor to Kenny and would see him more often than we would. So I think it worked
In the
out.
morning sometimes. Okay, I can contact him and ask those 2 questions, I guess. And that wouldn't prohibit whatever we say to the select board.
The
Basically,
2 questions are going to be,
what are the steps? So basically, the two things that I see, we collectively have said we're all for getting rid of the parallel parking if we can, and doing the work necessary to do that. And we're interested in establishing what town resident steps would be, but we're not going to hog for it. So I would.
We're not proposing it at this time, but we have had,
Inquire that.
we need to satisfy the inquiries that we've had from the public as to what would be required and whether or not it's possible.
Well put.
Great. Everyone on board with that?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Like it.
And that may be very informative. That may let us know what we can and can't do, or what what kind of hurdles would be required if we really did want to push, or somebody wanted to push for the resident parking.
Great.
Good.
Sounds good. Anything else? That sort of stuff. Plantings. Oh, my keys are in my car for the plants, so we'll have to. I'll just let that one be. For
Okay.
They have key years.
Yeah. The only other thing I had for the falls was kind of following up on the tax map update of the falls. And we got going on this. I wasn't at the meeting where one of the past chairs of the Conservation Commission attended, or a family member of the past chair.
Nash.
Oh, yeah.
It made reference to the quitclaim deed, and we should investigate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. From poking around in the files, I think I mentioned this all last month, it looks like the Conservation Commission went through all of this in 2005 and pretty well figured it out. And my understanding is the tax map shows parcels that don't exist in reality at Jackson Falls. And there's a chunk that the town owns outright, which is what we talk about every day as Jackson Falls, basically the big parking lot up, roughly. And then everything from there down, excluding the private homes, is owned by an entity that actually the town assessor is not sure who the entity is. It used to be Mal Incorporated and then Mallet, and then they're not sure if it then passed on to the condominium association. So that's one question, is who the current owner actually is.
It's a Mallet Corporation. There's two different ones. There's the Wentworth, and Mallet is part of the Wentworth, and all those properties entail to that. We did talk through that, and most recently in a plat that went through the planning board,
Yeah.
because we had a dispute between one of the property owners and the Wentworth folks as to what was going on for rights.
Oh, interesting.
And so, yeah, it was interesting. And so,
The dispute was between Wentworth and.
well, the Wentworth owns one part, then there's a part that the condominium association actually owns. So there's actually two entities that are involved in that process. One or the other owns all of the properties that align with the river. And part of the issue was around making sure that we understood what the right of way was, and who had ownership rights, for example, to that little gazebo and all that good nonsense.
Who does have ownership rights to gazebo?
That property, that actual property, is owned by the Wentworth.
Okay.
But we have access. The town has full access. That's part of the
Yep.
quitclaim thing that
Yep.
you passed about. So all that is owned privately, but it has full access for the town forever.
And where does Mallet fit into that?
There's a separation between the one and the other. The one building there, the house that's just above the gazebo,
Yeah,
that's part of the condominium association, and so the property that is behind that is all part of the condo association, not Mallet. Mallet owns down where the gazebo is, and just south of that. So there's an area was in dispute, I guess is my point, as to who owned what and who had rights to what. Because there's a septic system in there.
yeah.
Great. Well, maybe I will have Julie talk to the planning board also, and maybe, I think the only action item would be to update the tax maps to reflect the real ownership.
Yeah.
Because there's basically a a chunk that doesn't exist up just on the map, just below the parking area, that has no owner and doesn't exist in any other paperwork whatsoever, and is part of that whole, basically the riverbed and the islands and everything is that property to which the town has full right
Yeah,
and access.
Again, I think the plat that we looked at had everything completely defined.
Okay.
And that was just recently reapproved, not because of that piece of the plat, but because they needed to correct some lines that were associated with the restaurant.
Do we know how far the town's access goes? Do you remember we had that talk about whether or not we were going to keep maintaining like,
The lower.
the little lower area, and we're like, oh, we're not going to, and we decided, oh, maybe we kind of will. We ended up and we clipped that one time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do we know? Do we know like?
Yeah, we have full that.
About like how far, like all the way to that lower little island, and then up into the.
From up to down.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything basically in the riverbed.
Okay.
Probably, without looking specifically at the deeds.
From bridge to bridge, I
Okay.
guess is the right way to say that.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
In the
I liked it that day we went and cut.
In the riverbed.
Had a good time.
and the whole basically.
That one time?
Maintained it for like residents. We like cut some, but not a whole lot. Didn't
Mostly
replace
built
little.
before. There's that little bridge, that like plywood.
Yeah, the 2x4.
The part we are not there, it must be the Wentworth.
Yeah, see what's coming.
It was part of the.
No, that's
To
what
where we-
they own that.
The-
No, they own that.
I know, but the deed that I was saying,
Back is what we were cutting.
that I saw, it looked like we have a right of way
Oh,
over that.
yeah, there's a right of way to it, yes. You can walk up to the river, but you know,
Yes, I'm not saying we own it, I'm saying, but that include that,
yes,
that part is where townspeople can go without, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Again, bridge to bridge.
Cool.
Okay.
Way to go.
Done. Thanks for the planning board. It's a rare question. All right. I think we're done with Jackson Falls. On to Prospect.
Okay.
Do you guys want to start the conversation?
Yeah, Mark.
We've been working furiously.
Brainstorming furiously.
I could also start if you want to.
We've talked about it a little bit.
Turns out we're not great at setting up meetings.
Well, that's at the old Village Bakery.
Right.
Yep.
This is for creating a management plan, right?
Yes.
A recreation management plan?
I would call it a holistic management plan.
Okay.
Like the whole group.
Because there's a timber, I mean, there's a, isn't there a resource one, a resource plan?
Yeah, we have a very extensive
Yeah.
timber management plan.
Yeah.
And what I'm picturing is we should have something written that basically says.
Folds it all in.
Jackson's Conservation Commission will manage this piece of property, and like reflecting the wishes of the owner who deeded it to the town, and blah, 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 blah. And we just could make it as simple or as complicated as we want it to be. And I think currently it's ad hoc. Basically, we won't do anything that we can't by the deed.
Right.
Traditional uses are great for everyone.
So we're gonna put in the ball fields and everything?
Yeah. So I think I'm advocating essentially for writing down the status quo.
Right. Something.
And then when, in future years, we can say, hey, we have this actual plan, and we're working towards it, or whether it would be like develop more trails, or I don't know if we need to get into that level, of detail, but at least get down the status quo of how we as a board view our responsibilities and recommend what the town is.
Set the baseline.
And is that what we felt that woman from UNH was good at, or would have?
I kind of asked her if she had resources that could help guide us through the process. And she was like, yeah, I'll get back to you on that. So I could push her some more. I could always
Yeah, I don't think we need it. I just didn't know if there was like a.
Yeah. The other, I haven't looked too much into it, is the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions, of which we're a member of. I'd imagine we'll also have resources which could help guide us through this process. And I haven't spent that much time on their website, and they have their annual meetings in the fall, but I'm sure if we reached out to them and said, we want to do this thing, because it must have happened, on every town forest, probably in New Hampshire, that there's an actual written management plan, rather than we like it the way it is.
We should make sure that we tell lots of people and publicize what our thoughts are with it, because the one time we tried to do this is when all those people showed up and thought that we were
Changing
everything, and then we had like 70 people here, and then everyone was angry and yelling, and everyone was mad, and there was a lot of, because they felt like, oh, and the people of Jackson weren't asked about this, and now you're trying to change what's happening.
Right.
So maybe people just know that that's not necessarily, we're not trying to do that then, and we're not trying to do that now.
Right.
So what we really want is a heritage dump. I mean, we want everyone who has lived here and who has an idea about what it's supposed to be to give us an idea of
Well,
what it is they think it is. And
That's sort of what that meeting was. It turned into.
I mean, I
Yeah.
sort of visualize or envision that we would just go through the minutes because I feel like we have a list
Yeah.
somewhere that came from that meeting that
Right,
was
that
like
meeting was.
the basic guidelines of hunting is okay or whatever, no snowmobile. Yeah.
Keep it the same was kind of like the,
And so I feel like we could
Don't change
start,
anything.
That's what we need to establish.
we
Yeah.
could start
What is the
with
status?
that list
But what
and
we do
just
with the same
expound upon it.
meeting.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I think is exactly what Tom's
Yeah.
asking us to say. Is like, all right, what is the same? And some of that same that we kind of just shook our head, like, yeah, okay, that'll be all right. It really isn't okay.
I think
Dirt bikes and stuff. That's just. I don't feel that should be.
I think also we could come up with a list and talk about it in our March meeting. We would have to get together finally, and then attach it with the minutes from that meeting. With not with the agenda, with the minutes on the e-news, so that everyone in town can see it and say, these are our ideas. This is what we've come up with for Prospect Farm. If you have any input, please come to our April meeting.
we've
And-
seen these as potential resources or recreational opportunities. We'll be discussing them in March or whenever, April. If
Yeah.
you'd like to be a part of that discussion, please come to the meeting.
Please come, and
Like-
then people are given notice. If they want to come and chime in about their ATV use or whatever, they can come. But at least then we have like a starting point and something that we're working off of.
Yes.
And I really don't think it will be that hard. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
sitting down and doing it.
Yeah, and I would like to guide that process by having what we conceive as the status quo.
Right. Yeah.
And
we
so
know.
people can react to like us being like, we see this as the status quo.
Right.
I'll try
What do you think?
to dig up the list of like regulations from that meeting.
I wouldn't call them
Yeah.
regulations.
Yeah.
I
Or
would just call
guidelines,
Right.
thoughts.
it current practice of use.
Current use, yeah.
And then I can email it to everybody.
Because I think people just don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah.
Probably was what they
As long
thought
as
should
we're-
be, what they thought should be there, but not necessarily what they did.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in a sense, it's,
Because it's not actually like law anywhere. I mean, it's not.
but if they're not using
there
it
is
for those
official-
purposes,
there are
they still
official
want it to
restrictions
be
as well.
able to be used for those purposes. That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things that are out there that, 20 years ago you didn't think about wanting to do, or people might do like a paintball wars or something
Right.
like that.
Exactly.
Or fat tire bikes in the winter. And,
Be nice.
I mean,
That's why they did-
I don't know
they did
whether or
address
not those are
those,
things
yeah.
we want to say no to, or,
Right,
or yes to, or,
This was the same meeting with the whorehouse and Ferris wheel conversation,
Is that
right?
where you
Yes.
go,
Okay.
you fly your drones there?
That's what I was gonna say. Like, maybe a drone airport.
It's a drone airport, that's cool,
I think, yeah, I
I
think
think it's exactly what we're
Yeah.
trying to.
to kind of.
So we don't have to have the same
Pre-establish it.
conversation 5 years from now with different problems.
Mm-hmm.
That we basically like, oh yeah, we didn't think of that.
Yeah, or just update it at that time. to-
So like take that list and come up with broader concepts that we all
Yes.
feel strongly
And
about.
I think, I think very strongly that there should be a paragraph that has no list, that's like, the town views this property is valuable
Yeah.
for,
Are you envisioning this as a written document, like
Yes.
a manifesto?
not a manifesto.
No, I agree with that.
In a management plan, it'd be a guiding,
Like
guiding
a-
mission or.
Yeah, like a mission statement.
Yeah,
I think it's important that we at least express our interests and why, so that we don't run into that same conversation. We're just going like,
Yeah, so I
you're
think-
just trying to resist
Yeah.
what we were told that land really is meant to be
Yeah,
used
and
for.
I think that comment was a great
Yeah.
example of For example, the town has a legal agreement with Jackson Ski Touring, which the select board negotiates, and we have nothing to do with. You know, it's like in the management plan, it needs to say like part of this. You know, like the select board negotiates this thing with Jackson Ski Touring, and you know, like that is not necessarily a known fact. And
Right.
I mean, it's in the select board minutes, but just things like
We've
whatever
had
those
several
things-
conversations wondering who should be doing what. Is it Jackson Ski Tour? Is it us?
Paragliding, hang gliding.
Yeah. Raves.
Okay, so
Alright, so we're gonna have a draft for March, and then we'll
I
invite
swear.
the public comment for April. Is that
yes, I swear to God, we will.
I mean, we can all meet again as the seven of us, if we, in between now and
Yeah.
if we want to, like, help with drafting, or some subset. Just if there's four of us, you need to make it publicly known.
We could set up a meeting 2 weeks, set up a meeting 2 weeks
Well,
from
it has to be
today.
a group of three, because if it's a group of four, then it's
Then it's public.
then it's a public meeting.
Just set up a meeting right
We could have
now
it,
and show up in 2 weeks, and why don't we just set up a meeting right now,
Yeah, alright.
for 2 weeks from today? I mean,
Would everyone be interested in the seven of us getting together in between this meeting and next month's meeting?
Set up a work session.
Work session? Or we could go to the filing cabinet, or whatever the versions of that are.
I think that's probably the only way it will really happen,
Alright.
for me anyway.
I can only stay till 6 in 2 weeks. But I can be here at 5:30 to 6. A quickie?
5:15?
Sure.
Yeah, that works.
5:15 to 6 on February
19th.
19th.
Is that President's Day or anything strange?
It is, actually.
People do not want to do it on President's Day? I don't know if it matters.
That's a holiday weekend. That's probably, well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter to me.
It's a pretty important holiday in my household. Presidents walk around. I mean, it's a pretty, we all build miniature Lincoln memorials in the front yard.
Trump doll.
We're going to do 5. Is 5 better for everyone? Or if we're, I don't know if,
Okay, sure. 5 to 6?
yeah, because then you're done by 6.
And the goal of that meeting will be to go through the cabinets and like come up with that mission statement, or come up with the list of ideas.
Maybe both. Yeah. Like we can maybe break into mission statement side and
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. So then we'll collectively be prepared for the next conservation meeting.
Yeah.
Right, that's good.
And then we can discuss it and
Yeah.
present it or to
Maybe we can do
whomever.
our plan at the same time, unless
Oh, yeah.
you want to just,
It's the only way I
do some
remember anything.
executive decision and just select
I mean,
some stuff.
last year we did the same thing as what we did the year
Yeah,
before,
that's
which is
fine.
fine with me.
That's fine.
Okay,
All right.
February 19th, 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we should bring snacks.
I feel like I have something that day.
Well, you better cancel it, Brian, because you
Might be
gotta
a
be
ski
here
race.
for this.
I'll look it up.
Are you computer race, Brian? Is that the race day during February vacation?
I don't know,
It is
I
the
remember
first
something.
day of February.
Kathy's
vacation.
birthday's 18th, I just thought there's something the day after. I can't remember. 2-day party, I guess.
We're covered.
You're going to get to do this big fun thing for your birthday.
There's a party for Meredith too.
All right. That's great.
I have a piece of new business at Prospect Farm.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Peter Benson talked to me about some tree stands. One, I believe, is permanent, and the other one is removable. That I think he feels are on Prospect Farm property.
What are they? Tree what?
Tree stands, hunting stands.
Where are they?
Where?
I'm surprised, I've never seen
We didn't
them.
really get it. It wasn't the right time to talk about it, so he just kept it brief. So I believe one of them is pretty close to the parking area.
Oh,
Like
The skier or the
the
somewhere
upper- I think the
winter?
upper part.
The upper part.
Yeah, he contacted.
It's a terrifying place to have a deer stand.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Maybe it's the other one, but it's definitely fairly close to the road. And he talked to Fish and Game, and they basically said, "Well, we can't. There's nothing we can do about that."
Because it's
You
on
know,
town property.
Like I said, we didn't. We said we were going to talk about it more, and we just haven't. So I ran to
does he
him.
know who owns it?
Well, I
He
mean-
didn't say.
I guess this would be the perfect example for this.
I was guess
Yeah.
sounds like there's something for the management plan.
Yeah,
And something that we've hit on in the past is currently, like the National Forest has rules that go above and beyond the state rules for hunting, like as far as, like in the state you can't walk down a road and hunt off of the road, but you can do it from really close to it legally. And in the National Forest, they push you out further. So like those are sorts of things I think we could get into is, adopting the things above and beyond if we wanted to.
I think it would make sense to match the Forest Servants since we
Yeah,
butt it
surround
on.
it.
Can we get the forest?
All
service
sides?
down?
Yeah, 5 sides. I don't know.
Yeah,
Every side.
on the website. I mean, that would be part of the whole process, because I'm sure like that would probably change like where people have hunted for a long time, and that's going to be a thing. It's going to raise flags. If you're suddenly like you can't do the thing you've been doing for 50 years
Yeah.
because somebody walks their dog here now, like that whole back and forth. I think
Go
would be part of this
200
process.
yards off the road.
Right, the deer
Bang.
should, right.
Yeah.
Unless she called Peter, then I'll call Peter.
But yeah, I think that'd be a perfect thing for this process to like.
If we could find out where they are, that'd be a good
Yeah.
start.
And I think, and I know for certain that different properties owned by different entities have, like, like on private land, like it's courtesy to go to the owner and be like, yeah, I want to go to a tree stand, and the owner say like, yes, year round, or only during like the correct season,
Right.
all that kind of stuff would be the thing to.
Right now, the tree stands that Peter's talking about are on Prospect Farm. Or the-
That's how
Yeah.
I believe that's how we said it. Like I said, I didn't have a good enough opportunity to really go over all of it.
Okay.
Alright. Something to think about. Alright. Anything else for Prospect Farm?
Has anyone seen how the signs are holding up? I saw one that was like
Not super good.
it was the one at the Quail Trail was the other day. Like
Yeah.
I came over and kind of pulled it back up, but it looked like it was gonna.
I think we talked about this last time, the idea of getting reprinting the broken ones, putting them on plywood, maybe
Yeah, back to
beefing up
board.
this, either putting them back on the same stakes or getting new stakes. And probably the same thing in the falls also.
We need holographic signs.
Yeah,
Lots of
and we'll have to
doors.
print new, I think one of the things under the same old is to print the overflow parking sign at the falls, which we can maybe talk to the road agent about whether he orders it through the real sign company is that
Right.
they use, or if we get the same little
Does it make more sense to put those signs on trees?
Prospect Farm.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, it'd be sturdier, no
Right.
doubt, but would people see them as readily? Like in some spots, once the trees leaf out, like because the signs are so tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this, it'll be a good experiment to look at what 1 year does to them.
Yeah.
Both in terms of, I believe we were told by the printer that the signs are like 8 to 10 year items.
Yeah, they
As far as the
definitely-
printing goes. not
Right, they need a
this.
backer.
Yeah.
The backer could be a color and just put, larger than the sign and
That's
fasten
a good
that to
idea.
it and just pick whatever color we choose for.
And I didn't check my email this afternoon about Margaret mentioned this, you saw the email.
Yeah.
Apparently the governor is starting a process to maybe review wetlands regulations in the state of New Hampshire. The process will involve comment and feedback. I don't know the specifics of it, so I didn't get a chance to look at my email today, but I think it was forwarded from the town office to us. So I feel like that's something we should be,
Is it like a
You
statewide
could
thing?
forward it to everybody.
yeah.
Yeah, there's different hearings all around the state to give your feedback on this. And it seems, my impression, I just read it super fast, was that it essentially will lessen the regulations on wetlands.
For building
And-
on a wetland or
Yeah.
or main.
Pro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's pro.
Sununu, right? Makes sense.
yeah. So
That's kinda scary.
maybe we might want to go to a hearing somewhere. I think,
With signs.
what's that?
With signs.
Yeah. I think there was one in Lancaster.
And
Just
publicize
send out the
it too
email.
also,
Yeah.
to the folks that are interested in conservation.
Yeah.
That's all that I have. Anyone else have any new or old updates and old business?
Anything about Black Mountain?
I haven't heard anything. mean, no.
That's all right.
Yeah, we usually just get copied if there's anything that goes
Yeah.
back and forth. Mostly from the state to them, but.
Well, I think that's
Okay,
it for me.
I make a motion to end the meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, Bernard. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, great, there we go.
So you
Yeah, nicely done.
distribute